security. You're all security. You're all
He works here, and they're referring to that man, Blake Anderson, being assaulted by Los Angeles sheriff's deputies. Anderson was allegedly working as a security guard at a nightclub when the police arrived and essentially jumped him and threw him to the ground and beat him. And now there's some new information from Anderson's family. They say that Anderson has suffered permanent vision loss in his right eye, that his eye will have to be cosmetically replaced by a prosthetic. They say that Anderson also suffered a dislocated shoulder, and that during the beatdown he received several bruises or hematomas to his head. According to eyewitnesses, Anderson was simply talking with some people outside of the club when the police arrived, and that the police were not in any sort of rush to do anything. And then suddenly, according to the eyewitnesses, police moved in, rushed in on Anderson, and without identifying themselves or explaining why they were arresting him, they threw him against a window and then to the ground. And at one point during the video, you can see one officer pull out a gun and point it at Anderson's head.
Blake, don't resist, Blake. No. Come on. Do what you gotta do, Blake. Come on. Please, Blake, no. No, Blake, I swear. No, Blake. Blake, don't fight back. No, Blake. Just go. Blake, no. Just let
At one point, that deputy with a gun allegedly told Anderson, "I'm going to blow your effing brains out." Well, this video has gone viral, and the sheriff's department is now issuing new information to try to tamp down some of the public outcry and outrage over this alleged police brutality and harassment. The sheriff's department says that deputies had a reason to detain Anderson and that he was on parole and was not allowed to possess or own a firearm, but that he had a loaded firearm on him when police approached him at the nightclub. The sheriff, Alex Villanueva, has issued a statement saying that Anderson is a convicted felon. He was armed. There was a struggle. Deputies used force. They certainly did use force, even when Anderson didn't seem to be resisting and had his arms behind his back. You can see the deputies, one of them, place his knee on Anderson's back and on the back of his neck.
Blake, no. Just let him. No, Blake, do not let him go, Blake. Ooh, he did nothing. He did nothing. He was walking with me. He did nothing. Blake, do not let them do anything, Blake. Blake, let them take you, bro. I'm about to call your mom, Blake, okay?
All right, hey, no, I need my permit. Hey, show my permit.
While the sheriff's department is defending the arrest of Anderson and the actions of the deputies, because of protocol, the department says there will be a review of the use of force in this case. And presumably, that review of the use of force would include the eyewitness footage that we just played for you, as well as any police body camera videos and any surveillance camera footage. The beating and the arrest and the injuries to Anderson come at a time when his family says he was actually putting his life back together. They say the reason that Anderson was at the club to begin with was because he was trying to make a little extra money to care for his growing family. Anderson apparently and his longtime girlfriend are expecting the birth of their daughter next month, and Anderson is trying to provide for them and was trying to make more money to help support them. But now, in addition to the charges that he's facing for resisting arrest and parole violations, now he's got a lot of medical expenses he's going to have to deal with. Here's the question. Even if police had justification to go ahead and try to arrest Anderson because of some gun charge, do they really need to be so physical and violent and adversarial from the start? I mean, it seemed like police were just sort of milling around at the beginning, and then suddenly they rushed in, and the moment that Anderson seemed to have any questions or any criticism, police threw him to the ground. That violence initiated by police can be a recipe for disaster. There has to be a calmer way for police to try to resolve these situations. And it's also not a good look when you're talking about white sheriff's deputies harassing, targeting, and injuring a black man who doesn't seem to understand what is going on. This is a terrible look for the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. We're going to see how this plays out, perhaps with lawsuits that might be filed in the near future.
So a cop just threatened to impound my vehicle. Watch how quick he changes when he finds out that I have a dash cam running in my car.
Good day.
How you doing?
We're in a hurry to get someplace, are we?
A little bit.
That's what your driving tells me.
You're not
Your vehicle's impounded for excessive speed effective now.
Impounded?
Impounded. So you're losing your vehicle for days right now.
This driver's interaction with the police is escalating quickly. After being pulled over for allegedly speeding, TikTok user Luke finds himself facing an officer on a power trip. The responding officer wastes no time letting Luke know he's seizing and impounding his car, and he can pick it up in a week. But then the situation takes a turn.
So the video feed cuts off here and switches to audio because I had my phone recording in my pocket. What I had done was pulled out the memory stick that was in my dash cam, and that's what the cop sees and questions me on.
I don't know why you're messing with that, sir. I'm asking you for your license.
I don't think you asked me quite yet for it,
Thank you. I'm sorry?
I don't think you asked me for it yet.
You're right. I didn't. Okay. I have one of those too, but I don't know.
It takes speed. So when we go to court,
so-
we can talk about it.
Go to court?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to let you off with a warning.
Did you catch that huge change in the officer's tone? It's enough to give anyone whiplash. That's because this officer just realized that he's being recorded, and that his attempt to make Luke seem non-compliant is about to get a lot harder. Officer Impound isn't so cocky now. Suddenly, all that talk about taking away Luke's car for 7 days goes out the window. Now the officer seems reluctant to go to court, perhaps because he realizes how many mistakes he's made from the very beginning of this interaction. What was about to be a major abuse of police power is now a warning. Here's Luke's advice to other drivers.
And just like that, we go from a 7-day impound to a warning. All it took was him realizing that he was being recorded, that obviously I had my driving recorded, and threatening calmly to go to court and talk about it there. So have a dash cam, threaten to use it when you have to.
Commenters on Luke's video were stunned at just how poorly this cop managed to do his job. MG asks, was this a legit police officer? Another says her dash cam uploads video directly to the cloud, so police can't seize her camera and her evidence. But most commenters were just surprised to see a cop driving a Hyundai. Police abuse of power is rampant in the United States, and it's especially on display during traffic stops, when, as one lawyer puts it, police officers have as much power as God. But there's one thing police don't want you to know. If you have a dash cam or another means of recording your interaction, it's a lot harder for them to spin a story that ends up with you in trouble. And how do we know that police recording works? Because Republicans around the country are fighting to make it illegal. In Arizona, the state GOP passed a law that makes it a crime to document a police stop, something that Democrats and Republican civil rights lawyers say clearly violates your First Amendment. But that doesn't matter to the far right. According to a report from The Atlantic, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey's newest law criminalizes any recording within 8 feet of police activity. That means if you record the police breaking the law, it's you who will end up in jail, not the police. And that video you took, it won't be legally admissible as evidence either. Wow. Other Republican governors want to take Ducey's law nationwide, with huge chilling effects for the rest of the country. Take this case from Virginia, where a multiracial army officer recorded police pointing guns at him, pepper spraying him, and dragging him to the ground. Watch this, but I must warn you, it is disturbing.
Get out!
What's
Get
going
out!
on? What
Get
did
out
I
the
do?
car! Get out now!
I have not committed any crimes.
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point right now. You're under arrest
For a traffic-
You're being detained. Just get out of my
Relax.
car.
Can you please
Get out.
relax? Can
Get
you
out.
please relax?
Get out of the car right now.
This
Now.
is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me.
Back up, Daniel.
I didn't do anything.
Back up.
Whoa, hold on.
Hey,
What's going? Hold on. Watch it.
Air 4 OCs deployed. Get out of the car!
We only know about this incident because this veteran recorded and released it, and as a result, at least one of those officers was fired from his job. But in Ducey land, that video wouldn't be admissible in court, the public would have no right to see it, and that veteran would risk serious jail time. This is the same GOP that says if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to hide. One commenter describes this veteran's situation as one of the worst arrests they've ever seen. He says the veteran seems confused and that it's no surprise these police were fired. And unlike Luke's story, The presence of video didn't stop these officers from breaking the law, but it did ensure they faced a punishment for their official misconduct. With Republicans campaigning on their wish to put police permanently above the law by extending immunity and limiting the public's ability to record them, our country faces a serious threat to law and order. But the problem isn't the civilians. It's coming from rogue police and the departments and politicians who protect them.